Hey everyone, Mark here from Digital Groove Online, and welcome back to another video. It's been a few weeks now since I've just posted my last video online, and the reason for that is I've just been so busy with working with clients online and building apps and things in the background for my new website. So I thought I would get back to it this week and break down a client's track that we were working on just last week. It's a really good progressive, deep hypnotic style of house music, and as always we're going to go through each and individual group that we see here in front of us. It's broken down into simple categories, but inside each category we have multiple layers which we'll go through and show you how I put that together with the client, and also how it was all put together as an arrangement towards the end and what that sounds like. So if you stick around, this is what the track sounds like, and we'll break down each individual element within the mix. So there we go, a real hypnotic progressive banger, and I really enjoyed making this. As I said, it's made up of a couple of groups there: kick bass, another layer of bass, leads, atmospheric group, bass pad, tom percussion group, and effects. But whenever we break that down, there are quite a few channels in behind that. So let's have a look and see how many there were overall in the project. 44 roughly, and not all of them are probably being used whenever we go through this here. So you've heard the track, the reference track that was given to me just to get that initial vibe of what it is we're trying to make was a track called Becker's D-Knox Keep On Moving. And if you haven't heard it, this is what it sounds like. Not like for like in style, but it definitely fits in within that genre bracket. You'll be able to play it in your DJ sets. And the client in particular had his own ideas as how the melody should go, and obviously that takes its own path as well whenever we start getting into the production of the overall track. Okay, so start off with the kick drum first of all, and not much processing going on there. I have a little bump in the mid-range, just towards the high end of the mid-range. And we've got an auto filter there, but that is actually just more for the mix itself and the arrangement. And after that, just Saturn on its actual default setting with just a little bit of drive. Okay, and the kick drum is just from a sample pack, and it's a nice short kick but also a bit round as well. So let's have a listen to that on its own. That's with the Saturn off. You'll hear it with the headphones on or a good set of speakers. Just adds a little bit more beef to it, a little bit more presence. Okay, using kicks, samples as kicks is fine as long as you find the right one. They're generally well processed and cut through the mix. We can also sample kicks from our favorite artists' tracks, and now with the new stem feature, enabled, and we can split that down, isolate the kick drums and things like that. Or we can use something like drum clone, which I've shown in other tutorials before, to isolate kick drums from tracks as well. But we found a nice one within the sample pack and we went with that. So the next thing we're moving on to is the bass, and it's made up of a couple of complex layers, so we're going to play them all together in one go just to let you hear that. I'll actually play it. Okay, so individually, the first layer itself is this, and here is the MIDI file to it. Just rolled off some of the low end, a little boost in the mids, and we've got an OTT there as well. I like to take the upward and downward compression back a good bit so it's not getting absolutely hammered, and then mix the depth back in. So I'll turn it off. Just brings that to life. And it is just a preset from, I think, a Luke Bond pack. No, it's actually one off Splice I've downloaded, which is quite cool. And the MIDI pattern, as I say, looks like this. And there's a bit of trial and error goes into the groove. You can see some notes that are highlighted there and some notes that are just turned off. And once we get the groove right, then I just leave those other ones turned off. After that, the next one, there is 2 bass layers down here. This one's been bounced to audio, so can't really show you what went on there, but we can see there's been a bit of EQ happened, and also a little bit of overdrive. So let's play that on its own. Off and on, it just gives it a bit more beef. I've actually recorded it back in, and I don't have the original MIDI notes or anything for that, but it's pretty straightforward. There is something on a return channel there, so let's have a look here. I'm in return channel B. It's this reverse delay plugin, okay, and an LFO which is moving this frequency here, and also, well, the LFO is turned off, but this LFO is modulating that frequency up and down. If you listen to it, you can hear it moving, especially the little reverses. You can hear that modulating up and down. The next sound, we still have the MIDI file for that. Pretty sure it's the same bass pattern. Lots of the low end cut off there because there's a lot of low end in the other sounds, and just a preset. I do like using presets as long as they sound good, and they can also be very tweakable to your own liking as well, and they're a great starting point. The next bass sound is this one. You can hear that's where the power sort of comes from. I've got some of the high end rolled off, and a shaper box in there as well doing the side chain, and I've got it split down into low and mid bands. So the low is side chaining at 100%, and the mids is not actually doing anything. So I've just taken below 90 Hertz, 95 Hertz roughly there, and side chained that completely out of the way, leaving the rest of the sound untouched. So playing all that together then with the kick drum. Nice bass and kick there. I'm just going to fold those back down, and we're going to move on to the leads. These are the intro leads. There's 2 of them here, both of them done with Diva, one pan slightly right. So let's have a listen to this one here. Just a little bit of EQ going on there. And I've got some automation here on the auto filter as the arrangement progresses. Once it gets to the end of these phrases, it lowers down a little bit and then gets higher towards the end. Just double check that I have an OTT on the main bus there. The next sound is another diva patch, and this is what it's playing here. Again, trial and error with the rhythms. At the start you can see that these ones have been turned off. Okay, so let's have a listen. Just automation throughout the track there on the actual filter cutoff as well. That little reverse sound that you hear is called Pitch Hack. It's a Max for Live device. You can download it off Ableton's website, and it creates that little reverse effect, and you've got lots of parameters where you can sync it to the project tempo. I've got it on 100% reverse, dry wet at 41%. The level will turn it up and down, so let's play it. And then plus 24 semitones, it's taking that signal and pitching it up 2 octaves in reverse. Okay, we can move that down to 12. Probably won't sound as good. It's not bad actually, but we'll just keep it as it was because that's how you finish the track. And just a little bit of EQ there. So the two of those playing together, you can hear that bump 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 bump, really nice rhythm. Okay, so that's so far we've got some of the lead sounds in, the bass and the kick drum. And just moving on now to the last lead sound, which is the melodic theme of the track. And interestingly, the client himself has a lovely Arturia Micro Freak, and what we done was then we plugged it in and we played around with it, just looping the bass line over and over again, and he came up with a simple enough melody that ended up being the theme of the track. And we didn't play it the whole way through, as you can see, but we definitely used it quite a bit, and in the breakdown it sounds really cool. We'll go back to that later on when we're listening to the bass chords. But we played it in and then we recorded it back in as audio, and then we applied the pitch hack to it again just to give it that reverse fluttery effect, and just used some EQ there as well. So what that sounds like, I'll just play it from here. And you can hear that I've baked in a lot of the reverb sound. I think we used Valhalla Shimmer on that and just EQ'd it a lot, and then bounced it back in as audio. As you can see, it says EXT instrument for external instrument there. So playing that with the rest of the sounds. Really nice, works really well with the track. So next thing we're moving on to is the atmospheric groups, and these textures were just in the key of the track. So the key of the track is in, I think it's A major. Yeah, there we go. Just double check with the bass. Yeah, okay. So we then looked at some sounds on Splice and Loop Cloud and all those other sample packs that you can get online, and find atmospheric textures that work with it. And the atmospheric texture group sounds a little like this. And I'll go through each of those textures one by one. Now this is panned slightly to the left, and this is just an ambient sort of like vocal shot sample with some Valhalla shimmer on it, some LFO, and a little bit cut off the lower end there. Next is a grand piano, just a stock Ableton grand piano with the vintage verb on it, and the EQ8, and it just plays those chords every sort of phrase. And this one is 20 to the left as well, so let's have a listen to the Atmos here. Again, shimmer, lots of huge reverb spaces put onto these sounds. I'll just take the fragments off, which is running it through a granular. Just turning it into that more of a pad style effect. The next one down is another atmosphere. And played with the top one, that's vocal atmosphere. Playing them all together. And you can see from the waveforms that there's movement within these files. Some parts are quiet, some parts are loud, some are panned to the right, some are panned to the left, and they just sort of phase in and out of each other, what gives us that movement within the track. And the last one is a vocal sample from, or a pad or vocal sample from the Cyclopedia track, or pack, sorry. I'll play them all together. Again, another shimmer on it, and some of the lows cut off. So I'll play that with the melody once it starts coming in here. Really sounding nice. Couple of little one shots up here. And then another one here. Just pitched up. With a longer delay on it. Longer feedback delay on it. Let's see. Feedback. %91% on the feedback there. And I like to add textures to the tracks, ambient noise, cafes, airports, people playing in a park, things like that. And I found this interesting sample called Airport Check-In at Zurich Airport. Just cut off the low ends there. Now at the very start you might hear this a little bit better, so I'll play everything, I'll play that with the bass and the kick at the start, and you'll be able to hear this noise in the background. It just fills out that spectrum a little bit nicer. If I turn it off, it sounds quite empty, but with it on, let's hear some atmosphere with it. Even if I turn it off now with the atmosphere, you can still tell that that drops out. turn it off again. You can hear that dropping out. And then further up here, it's more like a white noise. It's a river water vortex, it's called. And I've just dropped a lot of the low end off there, sweeped it right up and put an LFO on it. So the more I started to take off there and include it in the mix, it started to sound fuller. You know, we're getting down. We'll do the bass pad in a second, but we've got these tom drums and percussion that I want to look at before we do that. So the tom drums are just samples from a pack, Cyclopedia. I don't think I've got anything. No changes to that file at all. Let's check the other one. So just as they are, just checking the processing on them. Nothing on that, and nothing on that, nothing on the group channel. So yeah, just as they are, mixed into the actual track. So let's have a listen to that with the kick drum and the bass. We'll add the percussion in now as well, but we'll just check the individual channels after this. So let's have a look at the percussion group as a whole. I've got a clipper on there at the end, just taming anything that spikes. And just a little compressor squeezing and gelling those sounds together. Now the first sound is hi-hats with some velocity changes. It's already baked into the audio. So again, just mixing that. No real processing at all. Next one. Straight as well, nothing processed on that. Just a little bit of panning in both of them actually. Rode the low off that one. Next one is just like a hi-hat turned into a shaker by adding the vocoder. These two claps together are thicker, but whenever you use one or the other, it doesn't cut through the mix in the same way. So whenever I highlight the next one, and no real processing on those either, apart from that top one has a bit of the low end rolled off. External instrument bounce here, let's just check that. That's like a tom drum in there as well, just playing a little rhythm. I'm hearing a bit of background noise just from the actual audio interface that's been fed into it. But that again can add texture to your tracks. So all together then, Okay, there's two more sections that we want to look at, and it's the bass pad and the breakdown, and also the little effects and one shots at the bottom. Okay, some of these are very interesting and give the track a lot of character, which you will see in just a second, but we're going to look at the bass pad first of all. I think we've done this from scratch, and it's pretty simple. We'll just have a listen to the chord structure first of all. That's the melodic element playing with it. Okay, it's a nice rich thick harmonic sound, and it's just created using two soft waveforms, one pushed an octave higher, but the magic sauce comes from the 7 semitones up on the second oscillator. And if I just bring this down to the same level, so let's have a listen. Doesn't have the same effect. Really nice, and that's just got a little bit of cut off on there as well to make it sound more subby and take some of that high end away. Now what I was doing there with that fine tune is, you know, giving it some sort of natural unison without actually adding unison and making it very wide. You can just move the fine tune a little bit, and that can create the illusion that there is actual voices stacked on top of each other. Just by detuning them slightly. Happy enough with how it sounds there though. So yeah, that's just a simple enough bass pattern that plays and complements the actual main theme of the track. Okay. Lastly, we're going to look at the effects tab at the bottom here, and we'll play them one at a time. Some of them are straightforward enough, but some of them are really nice, particularly in and around that breakdown. So let's have a listen to the first one. Straightforward enough. Some of them are chopped to give a little rhythm. Just playing these two together then. The next one down. Really nice synth one shot. I'm not sure why I put that in with the effects, but it's nice and it sounds good. It only plays a couple of times throughout the track. And these types of things keep your track a little bit more interesting. It plays 4 times across there, but what I've done on the second time is taken the start of the actual audio file away. So it plays a slightly different rhythm if I just play that with maybe the kick drum here till you hear what's going on. And then it plays the same as the first one again. Well, there's an extra 1 or 2 hits. And then this one has a couple of hits taken away. And it sounds really nice when all played together over that. Lovely. The next one down is a snare roll. Some of the low end rolled off and automation along towards the end, so it filters out and fizzles out and creates a bit more energy when the drop happens. This is actually a sample from a Tool Room Mark Knight pack, and it's one of my favourite snares. I use it in lots of different genres. I like the way it cuts through the mix, and it's actually a longer audio file as well, if I haven't snipped it already. Yeah, so it's about that long, and I would always just take the last 4 beats because it's at its highest point and then its loudest point, and then just duplicate that up and automate the volume, for example, over time, and automate the reverb, and maybe just high pass or take the low end away as well. So towards the end the reverb fizzles it out as well. Love that snare, and it works in multiple genres as well. Moving down to the next one, let's have a listen to that. Straightforward enough, little LFO tool on it. And then this crash is really nice. I've been using it in multiple genres as well. Has a nice tail on it, not too heavy, cuts through the mix. Doesn't really need much or any processing. So let's have a listen to the next one. Just a ride cymbal. Should have been up with the percussion, not sure why it's down there. But we have rolled off a lot of lows, a tiny bit of the highs. If you put your headphones on or nice speakers, you'll hear that it does dampen it down a little bit, pushes it into the background of the mix. The next effect down, this is one of my favorites, and it plays right throughout the track on transitions, and I've just added a shimmer and a delay to it, and it sounds really good. And that delay just carries and carries and carries that. So whenever we play it all together, let's have a listen. A really nice sound. I was so glad I picked up on that on the sample pack, because it really adds value to the transitions as we move through the track, and you just sort of know what's coming and it sounds good. The next one down here is snips of all different little one shots with delays added to them. So let's have a listen to some of those. Sounds a little bit crazy on its own, but it really works with the track. I'm going to play it all together now so you can hear those little subtle one shots the whole way through, and it's synced really nice to the track as well. So let's have a listen to that from here so you get that transition effect in there as well. Let's have a listen. You can hear that first hit. Got one here also. So lovely spot effects there, with lots of atmosphere, lots of texture, lots of rhythm, and it works really well. The breakdown is so simple. It's a couple of elements, but those percussive hits definitely give it a really nice vibe. Let's just have a listen to this next one here. Straightforward reverse cymbal, just on a transition. Making sure I haven't missed any of these. No, I think I've got them all there. And I think that is also the whole track there as well, which is cool. I'll show you some of the spot effects just on the intro as it plays. The transitions and stuff. Okay, let's have a listen here. Got these claps here. So that's the whole project in a nutshell. Hopefully I've broken it down and you can understand what sort of elements go into these types of tracks. And also, if you're interested in one-to-ones or working with me, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm also going to link my free school community, which has a free beginners Ableton Live course on it. Lots of my social media stuff starting to go in there. And lastly, I will be building an inner circle community very soon, where I'm going to do deep dives and breakdowns into tracks that are on Beatport, and just sort of dissect them and show you my working process, my sound selection, how I think and how I operate through, remaking tracks and starting tracks from scratch, along with other, things along the way, like sample packs and presets and things like that. So that's something that's coming in the future that I'm working on at the minute. But right now, you can look at the school community that's free. Keep an eye on the content that I'm putting on there. There will be some free stuff put in there. And lastly, once again, if you're interested in working one-on-one with myself, you can reach out to me on the Digital Groove online website. Okay, so sorry it's taken so long to get back in the mix and the swing of things again. It was really enjoyable doing this, and I hope to see you again next week.